It's been 5 years since Jeremy and Sarah started this project. And do you know what? They finished. Hello, you two gardeners.
Hello. Nice to see you.
And you, are you well?
Yes.
Good to see you.
Hi.
It's been a few years, hasn't it?
5?
Yeah.
6?
Yeah, something like that, since you
Yes.
started. And what a garden. I mean, I didn't expect to see this when I came in. This is glorious, this bit. But also, you have a potager, and you're growing your food.
Yeah, yeah.
As you planned.
Yes.
Well, you just need the chickens and
That's right.
They're coming.
pig.
Away.
Yeah.
and you'll be entirely self-sufficient. But this is a real antidote to the kind of the railway and, well, the intense sort of urban quality of where you are, you know, right by the railway.
Yep.
So it's
Well, it's probably
rather
the most conventional part of anything we've done.
This looks fantastic, I think, this wall, doesn't it?
What do you like about it?
I like everything about it. And the concrete has all the texture.
It's gone slightly quicker than we imagined. We wanted to sort of happen over about 5 years, and it happened over about 2 years. We wanted
Really?
that sort of intermediate bit where you just have the concrete coming through the ripped, but
Well, we're
it's
sort
sort
of
of
flapping about a bit.
Yeah. But it's so
It looks very tight. It looks so tight. It looks almost as though it's been dressed, as though you've gone and cut them all
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
But you
It
haven't. You
was
just...
weathering quite unevenly because the bags decay under ultraviolet light, but now it's taken on an evenness.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I do. I think it's lovely. I'm very pleased with it.
And the gabions look just as epic as they always did.
solid.
Yeah,
Sturdy.
This one's leaning a bit, but they're still actually really, really straight, aren't they? How's the quilting, the nappy? How's that performing?
It's keeping it
works.
dry. Yes,
Yeah.
it's working well.
Yeah?
People were really worried about it getting dirty because buildings aren't meant to be dirty. And I think that actually it's working very well because it kind of shrugs it off. I think it would be nice if it was just a bit more puffy, like a puffer jacket. It's a bit understated.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I think it's just fine.
Do you? Good.
I think it's just fine. Because part of the idea of using the sandbags and the dampers was to reduce the vibration, reduce the noise, and the general intrusion from the railway. So does that work? I mean,
That really works. That's actually not a problem at all. But it's perfect. It's working really well, and our bills are very low. It's nice.
when I first saw this finished bit here, I thought that it was a sort of a bit of an architectural mishmash. But it's not that, is it, really? I mean, it's...
Kevin, it's not that at all.
It's much more,
been
much
very
more
carefully
considered,
thought out.
isn't it?
It's intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder whether or not, when you're an architect, when you design your own house, whether or not there isn't the temptation to put every idea you've ever had into the one building, and how you were able to edit out things that you felt weren't appropriate.
If you rework things over and over again, you're gradually getting towards what you want to do, and you do edit in the process. It is a refining process, I think.
And some of the editing is out of your hands. It is cost.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to take stuff out.
And the straw bales, how are they? They look very fresh.
Pretty perky.
Yeah.
I mean, those have been in now 3.5 years.
They
and
look
they're
great, don't they?
fresh as daisies.
Don't they just?
Isn't the colour good?
Yeah, the colour's fantastic. Very hard to
Come on in.
visual, isn't it?
Onto our shiny floor, which goes
Oh, yeah.
out into the pond.
Oh, yes. Very
And then
beautiful.
shine.
Watery colour. This is
Yeah.
fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's like
is our
liquid,
puddle.
isn't it?
Yep. Come on
Beautiful
up
thing.
before you drown in it.
This is all very sharp, isn't it, in here? I mean, it's not like a hairy straw
It's
bale
not
house.
a
Not as you
hairy
would expect
straw
to find
house,
it.
not at all in the inside. It's slick, Kevin. That's the word.
This
for it.
is very slick. This was a building site when I saw it last. Sarah and Jeremy have divided their huge open plan living area into zones. A cosy library, a music area, mezzanine, and separate formal dining room. This central body of the building acts as a link between what could otherwise be two completely different buildings. The calm, minimal bedroom block that is the straw bale part of the house, and Sarah's functional, nappy-clad office on top of the gabions. Do you ever kind of orientate things around the garden? Because you get to see it from here really well.
Yeah.
So what, you turn the sofa around and...
and let the world in. That's nice.
This is terrific. Very nice.
It's
kind of
Very
quite
nice.
compact.
Convenient.
Very
Yeah.
Size kitchen. It's
Efficient.
great. Yeah, efficient. I mean, you know, simple galley kitchen.
Yep.
Is this
Yep.
your larder?
That's the larder in
Yes.
Can I have a look?
Yep.
Please.
This is your great kind of oast house in the middle of the...
It is the storehouse
granary.
and granary.
Wow, and there's a grill in the floor.
That's
so
it.
Your cold air is what is vents up
Comes
through...
in through the base and up through the top and out above the roof.
The storehouse is the heart of the building.
And then we have this table, which is made of recycled glass.
Oh, yeah. Very beautiful. And that goes all the way through to the outside of the building.
Yes.
Isn't that lovely?
And the shelf above the table brings the scale down as you're sitting there.
So it makes for a nice little sort of
It's a cosy little niche.
dining nest.
That's
Yeah.
right.
This whole building is finally finished, and that includes the Mad Folly, Sarah and Jeremy's 5-storey train-spotting tower that rises out of a rooftop garden, which they tell me will soon be sown with strawberries. How do you describe the character of this part of the building, the middle section?
I think it's mainly defined through the way that the light falls on it, so that it changes, and that's one thing I really like about it, that in the winter you kind of shut down around the fire, and it's quite intimate, whereas on a summer's day it feels like you're almost kind of walking around a park.
I mean, I think, you know, there's a sort of tension between the openness of certain of the spaces and then the kind of intimacy and really closed-down nature of the others, and I think, why not?
You can't put the complexity of kind of domestic dwelling into
A simple
shoebox,
statement.
into a single way, and I think that's
Yeah.
one of the things I think is successful about it, is it does accommodate all those different ways of living.
How do you define your relationship with this building? What kind of relationship do you have with it?
Well, for a long time I think I had a really love-hate relationship with it. I mean, I thought I was going to hate living here because it had been so traumatic building it. But now I absolutely love living here, and it's a real haven.
So have you forgiven the building for what it's done to you?
Just.
So is there a favourite bit of the building that you treasure here?
I think it's where we're sitting now.
Really? The kitchen?
Yeah.
Really?
For me, I think it is, yeah. I always gravitate to here.
I think it's lots of little bits. It's like just these little moments, like lying in the bath and seeing the daisies on the roof, or just coming through the gate and smelling the roses.
And climbing the stairs and seeing the view back down to the pool as you've come in. Or the view from the tower across the railway lines and the view over London.
So do you feel that you've arrived, that this house is finished, that you've concluded it?
Yeah, at the
I
moment,
think it's
yes.
always going to evolve.
We've always said this is an ongoing project, haven't we?
Yeah, you have.
I think also we've always said it was a bit of a plaything, haven't we? That it would change over time. We'd probably change our minds and then alter a few things and so on and so on.
Do you have any idea how much it's cost in the end?
Yeah.
You going to tell me? Do you know, roughly?
But roughly, the house is about 375,000, and the office is about 260,000.
That sounds all right.
I think that's remarkably good value.
Sarah, would you have done anything differently?
I think if I were to do it again, I might make the house a little bit smaller.
What about you, Jeremy? If you could change something, what would it be?
I'd do the whole thing differently, because I think that it's a house is just a kind of moment in time of what you're thinking about, what you're reading, what your personal circumstances, how much money you have. And the idea of replicating this is monstrous. So there's a sort of knowing naivety about
Yes,
the project,
exactly.
that you kind of walk into things. Yeah. And if we now knew what we were walking into, we probably wouldn't have.
And what does the house give you back in return?
Just an amazing sense of well-being, I think, to shape your environment in the way that you want to live. It's absolutely marvellous.
Building a house like this isn't for the faint-hearted, is it? You have poured your life and soul into this place, and I just wonder if it's for every mortal, whether or not your friends would whether you countenance them against doing it.
I'd recommend anybody to build their own house.
I would, yeah.
I'm not sure I'd recommend anyone to build this house, or with this complexity or this experimentation, but I think that people who live in new purpose-designed buildings have a better quality of life.
I think so.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't ever want to live in a, quote, normal house again after having this sort of space and, the opportunity to make your environment exactly the way that you want to. I can't think of any nicer luxury in life than to do that.
I can't see us moving out.
Ever.
Not really.
I think it'd be a wrench to leave it now.
Sarah describes this building as a sort of research project, and I have to say, for the last 5 years, I've been wondering whether it isn't a mishmash of all the architectural ideas that she and Jeremy wanted to put into one building. But I was wrong. This place isn't a hodgepodge. It has a real energy about it, a life of its own. And that's because it has all the depth and interest and idiosyncrasies that human beings have. It reflects the passions and the interests and the foibles of its owners. Now that is a proper home.